Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we're looking at the Punk deck. This is the deck I am using for the World Championship 2023 qualifiers, and these are just a series of level 3, 5, and 8 psychic monsters that play off of each other. They are really cool how everything works around with them. First, you have the Shirakusai, which is a fusion card, also a quick effect synchro on your opponent's turn. And you have Wangong, which is the field spell or the spell card searcher. Most likely just searching for the field spell. Next, you have Madame Spider, which is the Punk Trap Searcher. All the Punk Traps are kind of cool, kind of niche, unfortunately, depending on how you use it, or at what point you use it, they can be kind of a detriment to you. So specifically, this dangerous Gabu card, it allows you to gain life points when you don't want to. It's weird to think that you would want to gain life points just to keep yourself into a duel, but yeah, you really don't want to gain life points in this deck. Next, you have Zaamin, which is the monster searcher, and each of them have a secondary effect. This one is it gains if this card sends to the graveyard, you can target one Pokemon monster you control. It gains 600 attack. This one is if a Punk monster you control is targeted by your opponent's card effect or targeted by your opponent's attack, you get to draw one card. And this one is if one of your Punk monsters effects or one of your Punk cards effects target your opponent's monsters, you can target one monster your opponent controls and half that monster's attack. Fortunately, it doesn't do anything about its effect, so you can't really rely on it too much. The Wagong one is definitely the best one to go with here. I'm running this at 2 just because I only have one fusion, and you don't really need to run this at 3. Usually you win during the third turn. If you don't, then you're probably going to lose, just because there's not much protection after that. I mean, in that many decks, there's not really that much protection. It's not like a labyrinth that goes on and on and on and on. And running this at 3 so you can get your field spell. Running this at 3 because the traps are good. Even though I just now kind of said they were bad, they are good. They're just kind of different. Like, it doesn't really fit right. One of the dangerous Gabu doesn't fit right with this archetype. So that's the only reason why I said they're not that good. And running 3 of these just so you can do a monster searcher. Now, one of the level 8s, which is the Ogre Dance, is another monster searcher, but it doesn't pay life points, so I think that the Zaamin is actually better in that case. Next, I'm running 2 vernusylph the Falling Mountain. One of the cool things about Punks is that most of them are Earth. The only ones that aren't Earth are level 8s and the extra deck monsters, so not that good. But if you go first, that doesn't really matter. And you want to use these as the last resort cards, just so that you can use your level 8s if you do happen to draw into them. I'm running 2 Thawing Mountains just so I can ditch a card, special summon something, and then draw a card off of it. This is essentially a +1 since you're never going to be using the actual vernusylph cards. This is Misting Seedlings, so you can just go into your other vernusylph cards, so you can use those to special summon, and you get a free special summon off of it anyways. And then the Awakening is so that you can get something into the graveyard and get the special summon out of it. Basically, it's just a Foolish Burial for Earth monsters, and this is actually pretty good in this deck. Then I'm running 1 Deer Note. You should be running this at 2 at least. You can probably get one of the spell cards or trap cards down to 20 or down to 2, so that you can add another Deer Note. Having 2 Deer Notes is good for the long game, but for the short game, if you do win on the third turn, 1 is enough. You have 3 Foxy Tune. You can discard this card and one other card to special summon a card, special summon a punk monster from your deck to your deck to your side of the field. Now this is pretty good because you ditch it, and then there's a window for activation to where you can again, select another card to throw away. So if you do end up discarding this card, they have a window to where they can activate Ash Blossom, so you only lose 1 card, which is pretty cool. I find that really, really good in these kind of cards. I have skipped over what Deer Note does. I'll come back to this. That way you're not going at -2 just because someone used a Ash Blossom like the vernusylph cards do. So, going back, we're going to go ahead and rewind a little bit. For the Deer Note, you can reveal 1 other punk monster in your hand, special summon either the revealed monster or this card, and send the other card to the graveyard. It's not that bad because if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 punk monster in your graveyard except for level 5 and special summon it, but you cannot special summon this card for the rest of the turn, and you can only use this effect of Deer Note once per turn. Not really sure why that's on there. If you can't special summon it, I feel like you should only have that first thing where you can't special summon. Well, I guess then you would be able to normal summon maybe, but it just seems so weird. So yeah, it's you can special summon this, then synchro it off for Jam, Dragon, Drive, and then special summon the monster that you ditched or the monster that you sent to the graveyard, and then from there go to Psychic End Punisher or Amazing Dragons. It actually works and melds perfectly fine. Then 3 Ogre Dance, which I'm pretty sure I went over at least a little bit. It's another monster searcher. You can discard this card and then add a punk monster from your deck to your hand. And each of the level 8s also have a secondary effect where you contribute 1 punk monster, special summon this card from your hand. And then they each have their own third effect, which I have never used. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can make this card gain attack equal to that monster's original attack. So this one gains attack, and this one is when this card destroys an opponent's monster in battle, you can gain life points equal to that original monster's attack. Again, it's really weird that you would want to gain life points. Yeah, you're paying a lot of life points, but Psychic End Punisher isn't really a archetypal boss monster for this. But it kind of is. Like, you pay life points all the time, and Psychic End Punisher becomes a tower when your life points are lower than your opponent's. So they like melds really well together. I'm not sure why you would want to gain life points, but it's there if you want it, I guess. Alright, and next we can go ahead and go over the spells and traps. We have the Raigeki Feather Duster. It's really easy to draw into these since you have so much draw power in this. You can draw like a total of 3 cards. It's not really that much draw power, but as you're drawing those cards, you're also getting stuff from the getting stuff out of your deck. So you're kind of like cycling through your deck really quickly. So yeah, just 1 Harpy Feather Duster and 1 Raigeki, and then you have 2 of the field spell. You can run this at 3. I would recommend running it at 3 because you really want to use this first. That way, if you do end up using 600 life points to get a spell card, you don't do that for nothing. The spell card up to 2 times. If a psychic monster you control paid life points to activate its effect, you can draw a card. Then its secondary effect, you can banish 1 punk card from your graveyard, special summon 1 punk monster from your hand. Pretty good as an extender. It's really cool that they would actually include that little bit just as a as a field spell. You also use an extender. That's really cool. Next you have the Wild Picking. At the start of the damage step, if your punk monster battles your opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. You can only use this effect of Wild Picking once per turn. If this card in its owner's spell and trap card zone is destroy your opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. Punk monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. So it's like a battle pop and a battle immunity for you specifically, which is cool. Then you have emergency teleport. Two of these because all the level 3 tuners in this deck except for Ash Blossom are psychic types. Um, you have two called by the graves. This is really important because if they call by the grave or if they Ash Blossom you at the right time, you can't really do much about it. I would recommend running the rank 3 Xyz. Let me see if I can find it. I think I have it on here. Rarity. And I don't. I haven't. That's weird. It's so easy to get. The Ashura King. The rank 3 Ashura King. If you have that, I would highly recommend running that. Just so that you have a lot of level 3s. If for some reason you wind up with 3 level 3s in your field, which has happened, screwed me over quite a few times, you can at least have a monster gate out there. Then next you have Forbidden Droplet. You don't really care if your monsters go to the graveyard because you can recycle them pretty easily, and it's just a free negate. Then you have One Evenly Matched. This is just in case you go second. I've actually drawn my 1-ofs more than I've drawn my 2-of Field Spell, which is really annoying. Next you have 2 Infinite Impermanence. This is just a going second card or going second card so that if you need to disrupt your opponent, you can, or get to your turn, you can stop them from playing too. And then you have the dangerous Gabu, which you can target one monster, one effect monster your opponent controls, negates effects. Then if you control a punk monster, gain life points equal to that target monster's original attack. That part sucks because you do not want to gain life points with this deck if you're using Second Gun Punisher, because that is a very, very bad thing to do. It's just gain life points you don't want to, but you're going to if you use that effect. Then you have the Nashawari Surprise. Target one set card your opponent controls, or if you control a punk monster, you can target one face-up monster, one face-up card your opponent controls, and destroy it. This is not all that bad. You can, clear out your opponent's field if you need to. Unfortunately, in today's meta, it's probably not that great to do, but it's there if you want to. Next, you have Rising Carp. This is going to be the extra deck portion. If you contribute this fusion summon card, special summon up to 2 punk monsters with different names from each other from your hand and/or deck, except level 8 monsters. If you synchro summon using this card as material, you can target one punk monster you control. That card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So you want to go this at the end of your combo. If you have like a level 3 tuner and nothing else, you can special summon Deer Note and a level 3 tuner. You use Deer Note or you synchro off with Jam Dragon Drive with Deer Note to get the level 8 on the field. Use Deer Note's effect to special summon either another level 3 tuner or a level 8. That way you can go into a level 11. Or you can use Deer Note for pretty much anything, which is pretty cool. And Jam Dragon Drive can also go into either Second Gun Punisher or Amazing Dragon. Again, if you do go into Amazing Dragon, you're either going second or you are doing it on your opponent's turn. So using it specifically, unless you have the Shirakusai, you really don't want to leave the Jam Dragon Drive on your field until during your opponent's turn, because it's probably gonna get blown up. Next, you have Amazing Dragon, which if this card is synchro summon, you can target cards up to your opponent's cards up to the number of level 3 psychic monsters with different names you control and in your graveyard. Return them to the hand. And as a second effect, you can target one punk monster in your graveyard except for itself and special summon it. So you can have a maximum of 4 bounces. Each of these, if you're just running pure punk, there's only 4 level 3 psychic monsters. But clearing your opponent's board of 4 monsters is just outrageous, or 4 cards is just great. It's so cool. Um, it's, it builds you up for an OTK. You can get rid of your problematic boss monsters, your opponent's problematic boss monsters. It's just very cool. Next, you have, I'm running 1 second Punisher. You can run this at more, but I really don't see a reason to. This deck kind of gets screwed over by kaijus, but what deck doesn't? And its effects are: if your life points are less than or equal to your opponent's, the synchro summon card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. So it's pretty much a tower, except for stuff like Zombie World or the Fossil card that decreases its attack based on how much, or its attack by its original defense. That sucks. But unless you're like running into something weird, this card is mostly going to be unaffected by everything, and it has really high attack and with potential to get higher attack afterwards. Then you can pay as a secondary effect. You can pay 1,000 life points and target 1 monster your opponent you control and 1 card your opponent controls and banish them. Then at the start of the battle phase, any battle phase, you can make this card gain attack equal to the difference in your life points and your opponent's, which is really cool. So a lot of the times you can end your board on like 5,000 life points. You can make this card have 6,500 life points, 6,500 attack on your opponent's turn. It's immune to everything, and then you can go into your Amazing Dragon to bounce 4 cards back to their hand, which will usually be back to the extra deck. So it's really cool with how that all works. And then I did a cut. I added a Shuriken. While this card has materials, it can attack a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of materials attached to it. At the start of the damage step, this card battles, it gains 200 attack. When another monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card. You get the activation if you do destroy that card. So this is a once per turn monster negate. It's really easy to get 3 level 3s out here, just in case you can't go into level 8s. And you have a monster that continuously gains attack, can attack multiple times, and negate the effect of monsters that try to activate once per turn, which is really cool. I really like a Shuriken. He's pretty cool. The other Xyz monsters don't really matter. You can replace them with anything. Draglubion and the Hopebringer are ideal picks, but I don't have those, so this is what I'm running. And then for the links, I'm just running Earth-based links, the Mrs. Radiant, just for the attack and defense buff. Unfortunately, it lowers the attack and defense of the Amazing Dragon, which is Wind. Not great, but it's okay. And the Earth Charmer, which not many decks run Earth at all. If they do, it's Max C, and yeah, I don't know. This is kind of just in here for an extra Earth monster. Doesn't really need it. Most likely never going to be running into an Earth deck anyways, unless you run into vernusylph. If you run into vernusylph, you're pretty freaking good, because that way you can just steal your opponent's Vera and go into, just start stealing their monsters, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this is the deck that I have been going with the World Championship qualifiers. It's pretty good. I think I'm on a win streak right now where I just lost. One of the losses I did was because I was just completely stupid, and I got 1 level 3 on the field with two trap cards that their good effects need the level, need the punk monsters on the field, and I used E-Teleport to get them out, and I just left them there. I was like, okay, well, I have them for next turn, I have their good abilities, and they just got banished. Like, oh, okay, well, that happened too, so awesome. That is most likely never going to happen again. But yeah. Now, as in terms of viability, this is a very viable deck. I think it actually does, or would do good against tier limits. I haven't ran against tier limits all that much. If I do, I either bricked or I went second. Which, if you go second against tier limits, you pretty much, yeah, that's it. Um, but as for viability, this deck is very viable. You can, put stuff back into your opponent's hand. You have an Omni Negate that has like 6,000 base attack when you go into your battle phase. It's really cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and hope to see you on the next one. Peace.